Hello and welcome to ADHD Fest, the podcast all about adult ADHD with a little bit of law of attraction and self-development thrown in there. I am your host, Tara Pratt, and today we're going to be talking all about what supplements we can take for ADHD. Now, you've probably heard a few different podcasts or maybe read some articles on this. I have done my research and I have tried them out for myself. So we're going to talk a little bit about what I use, but also the studies to back it up. And why I wanted to dig into supplements today, I know it's a bit medical for me. Usually I go straight for anecdotes and stories, like personal stories about my life. This is more of like, a relatable podcast because I'm not an expert. I'm definitely not a medical expert, so let's put this straight up front at the top of the podcast. I have no scientific background. This is just my experience and my research only. Please speak to a medical expert or a doctor before you dig into any of these supplements. But the reason I've gone down this route today, which is a bit more technical for this pod, is because the podcast is all about low effort solutions. We haven't got time. If there's one truth about ADHD, it's that we are time poor, whether that's because we're always overfilling our plate and we're people pleasers and we never stop with go, 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 or it's because we spend so many long hours in ADHD paralysis and executive function problems and overwhelm, and we sit doing absolutely nothing for hours, and that feels like wasted time. So time feels very precious. Also effort. A lot of these techniques, mindset techniques and stuff, they really do work, but they take effort. So if there's ever anything that might be a bit of a cheat code that is very little effort that we can do quickly and can improve our lives, then I feel like we should take it. And one of those things is supplements. I went to a talk last week in Leeds. We had the Leeds International Festival of Ideas, and there was a speaker there. What is his name? Oh, it was Tim Spector. And he is a famous scientist, nutritionist. He works with like Zoe Health and all that. And he really does not like supplements, which is quite funny because he's just brought out a supplement. And he did acknowledge that in the speech. He was like, supplements don't work. We should be having a healthy diet. And do you know what? We should. We absolutely should be having a healthy diet. A supplement is exactly what it says on the tin. It's to supplement your diet. But with ADHD, we know it's very common to have a problem with your eating. We have disordered eating, whether that's binging for the dopamine hit, whether that's forgetting to have meals because we're in hyperfocus. There's a lot of problems around nutrition with ADHD, and we find it hard to consistently have a good diet. In a lot of cases, it's not impossible, but it is very, very, very difficult for us compared to the neurotypical. So why shouldn't we take advantage of these supplements? So before I get into exactly what they are, I do want to make this point. When you are taking supplements, for one, I've never enjoyed taking big tablets. That is really, I don't know whether it's a sensory thing, but it just freaks me out. But two, it has been shown, there's a small amount of studies into it, but it's been shown that some people, particularly with autoimmune diseases, which can be very comorbid with ADHD, they struggle to absorb things that are taken orally. And once it gets into the stomach, it just doesn't really pass into the bloodstream. And so I try to take, where I can, spray supplements. And whether that is spray onto my skin and it's absorbed by your skin, or whether it's the sprays that you get that you put under your tongue or on the side of your cheek and it's absorbed directly into your bloodstream from there without having to pass through the stomach, because the stomach does have a lot of acids and stuff in there. It's much harder to absorb things through that. And yes, I tend to take these supplements in spray format unless I state otherwise. So let's get straight into them. First up is vitamin D. I take this daily in spray form on the inside of my cheek. A lot of people are vitamin D deficient, not just ADHDers, but studies have shown that actually ADHDers are more deficient in vitamin D, particularly if you live in a not sunny country like I do right now. It's very grey, It's very cold outside here in England, so I'm not getting out and about that much. Plus, I'm an introvert, so if I don't have to go out, I will not. So vitamin D is so important. It's important in a number of things. It is essential for bones and teeth. It helps the immune system, your brain health for sure, which of course is important for us with ADHD. And it also helps regulate inflammation in the body. And if you know anything about inflammation, it's the cause of so many issues within the body. So many illnesses are due to inflammation. So it's really, really important. Vitamin D deficiency can cause bone pain, joint pain, muscle weakness or spasms, problems with bone development or the teeth. And I can't find the study that I read a long time ago, but it also plays a role with bruxism. And that's just the fancy word for jaw clenching or teeth grinding. If you grind your teeth in the night, that's called bruxism. And studies have shown that vitamin D supplementation can help that a lot. And for me personally, that has absolutely worked. I never used to clench my jaw until I started medication. And it was a side effect of that, but the medication helped so much I didn't want to stop taking it. So I read up on vitamin D, and once I started supplementing with the vitamin D spray whilst I was taking my medication, the jaw clenching stopped completely. So anecdotal, but that absolutely worked for me. Vitamin D deficiency can also lead to hyperparathyroidism, which is when the parathyroid glands create a hormone imbalance that raises the blood calcium levels too high. So it's a really, really important supplement, I think generally for everyone, but in particular with ADHD, it's a really easy one to take, particularly if it's a spray. The one I take is by Better You. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I hope to be, because I use them all the time. But their spray is actually in a spearmint. Is it spearmint or peppermint? Well, it's some kind of minty flavour, but it's very, very gentle and it tastes fine. And it's so easy to do. I never forget it because I do it when I take my medication. If you'd rather promote vitamin D with your diet in a natural way, you can find it in the following foods. Fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel and tuna, and those things provide another one of our supplements that we're going to talk about soon. Egg yolks, cheese, beef liver, mushrooms, fortified milk, fortified cereals and juices. So that is vitamin D in a nutshell. Absolutely love it. Next on my list is magnesium. Now, magnesium isn't talked about that much, I don't feel like, in mainstream supplementing, but it's come up in so many of my issues whenever I'm researching about hormone regulation or sleep or muscle aches or whatever. Magnesium always comes up. When I looked it up and I was trying to do my research on why magnesium is so important for the body, it came up with the fact that it is actually a part of over 300 enzyme systems that regulate diverse biochemical reactions in the body. So it's absolutely no wonder that it comes up every time I look up an issue that I've got. They're like, magnesium, magnesium, magnesium. Now, there are a number of different types of magnesium that can help with different problems within your body. So if you've got a specific problem, it might be worth doing your research on what specific type of magnesium will help you. I think there's chlorinate, glycinate, can't think of the other ones, but there's many different types. But I just take a general magnesium oil, and this is another spray, but you don't spray it in your cheek, which I did once by accident because I got my vitamin D and my magnesium mixed up, but we won't talk about that. I spray it onto my skin and then you massage it in. And the reason I bought it was for muscle aches, because I get really bad muscle aches in the morning. But actually the one I bought actually helped with sleep as well. And honestly, it really does. There's a lot of research into magnesium and how it helps with sleep. It really relaxes the body having high levels of magnesium in your blood. That's what the research says anyway. I don't know. I'm not a scientist again, guys. But all I can say is anecdotally, yes, absolutely helps me. Again, so easy to take. Just spray it on my skin. Again, I use the Better You version of this. Spray it on my skin, rub it in, and whether it's placebo or it's actually working, I don't care. It helps me to sleep. It helps my body aches, and it just makes me feel better. I think it's in a lot of reactions within the body that helps. It aids, it says here in this study, It aids in the production of energy and protein, and one thing we definitely need more of in ADHD is energy. Even if you're full of energy and you're a hyperactive type and you always go, 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 you do need more energy because that energy is coming from somewhere. It's being taken from somewhere and we don't want to burn out. So magnesium, absolutely love it. Highly recommend. Easy to take. And now we move on to one of my favourites, but it is a little bit harder to take, a little bit more effort for me, so I don't take it every day. But I can say that on the days that I do take it, it definitely makes a difference, so I need to get onto myself to do it every day. And that is omega-3. So omega-3 lowers blood pressure, it reduces triglycerides in the blood, it helps to reduce joint inflammation, helps nourish brain and eye functions, which of course is what we're looking for. It helps to prevent and alleviate dementia, depression, asthma, migraine, and diabetes, and helps reduce the risk and prevent heart disease and stroke. So if you're not affected by any of these things, maybe you're quite young, I know the age spectrum on the podcast is quite broad, but can you see if you're not affected by depression, asthma, migraine, and diabetes, can you see how omega-3 helps to alleviate the symptoms of or prevent these major issues within the body? How amazing is omega-3 that it can affect all of these things with either alleviating the symptoms or preventing them? So you can see how important it really is within the body if it goes against all these major issues that you might have. So why wouldn't we want to supplement with that? The caveat here with omega-3 is quality is key. They're not all made the same, and that actually goes for any supplement, but particularly omega-3. Some supplements really are low quality. You're not getting the best out of it, and I take quite an expensive supplement of omega-3 because I used to work with New Skin. I don't anymore, but I still use all of this stuff. I do love it. Omega-3 supplements, they're quite big. They're very soft. They're like you know the 7 C's supplements in the UK. They're like little squashy tabs and they've got oil in the middle. That's exactly what the New Skin ones are like, but the research does show that the omega-3 is super, super high quality. But as I say, they are quite hard to take because they are so large, and you're supposed to take like 4 a day, and I take 1 a day, if that. But it helps in so many things. And when I've been doing my research, why I looked it up is because it showed that it is helpful in particular for brain function of those people with ADHD. It helps me with anxiety. And when I've looked it up, I'm worried at the moment. I'm always worried about something. But I have a bit of health anxiety around cortisol levels because I feel like I'm showing the signs all the time. And if there's anyone medical listening, please do message me and give me advice. My memory function drastically just fell to the floor since I've had my son Theo. So I was always that person with like photographic memory. I would go into school like 1 day a week and I'd still ace the test because I'd just remember every single detail like someone was telling it to me in my ear. I had the most amazing memory. And when Pete used to say to me, "Oh, I don't remember," I'd be like, "You're lying. Of course you do." I just couldn't understand how he wouldn't remember stuff. And then obviously, like, I don't remember when it happened because my memory is so bad. But at some point after having Theo, my memory is horrendous. And I've been to the doctors, I've had blood tests, and he's like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. It's either stress or it's just age, you know. You're probably not interested." I was like, I forgot that my friend got engaged like 2 weeks before, and he was like, "You probably weren't interested." And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. Like, maybe that's normal for other people, but for me, I had such a photographic memory, and my mum still does. So it's definitely not an age thing. So for me, my memory issues have been worrying me. I've also got weight around my middle that just won't budge no matter how well I eat, no matter how much I exercise. And all of this could be related to hormones, but I've had all my blood tests and they say it's fine. So the only thing I can think of now is cortisol. And the number one thing that keeps coming up whenever I look at how to naturally reduce cortisol is omega-3. So if that's a worry for you, and I know with ADHD, we do have a lot of cortisol because cortisol is the stress hormone. It comes from feeling stressed. And even if you don't feel stressed, good stress can create cortisol as well. So they say like the most stressful events in your life, there's like 4 of them, I won't remember them all, are like moving house, getting a divorce, death, and getting married or something like that. And obviously not all of them are negative. Like getting married is a happy thing, but it's very stressful. Actually, I'm going to throw in there must be having children, must be the number one stressful thing, surely. So yeah, a lot of them are positive things, but there's positive stress as well. Excitement can create stress in the body. So omega-3 is super important, and you can get it naturally from food as well. And those foods are any cold water, fatty fish and other seafood. So fish like salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, sardines, all of those have got lots of omega-3 in. Then there's nuts and seeds like flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, plant oils like flaxseed oil, soybean oil and canola oil. It's in so many things. Just Google what foods have omega-3, and they have different levels in those. So take note of that, which ones have high levels in, because you don't want to be eating a load of something that only has a minute amount in it. I prefer to supplement because I know I don't get loads of that stuff in my diet, and I also feel like with ADHD we need a little bit more than the daily average of the neurotypical. And while we're here, I totally forgot to say what foods we can find magnesium in. So anything green leafy vegetables, definitely spinach, legumes, nuts, seeds and whole grains, they're all good sources of magnesium. So in general, foods that contain dietary fibre are going to provide you with magnesium, and it's also added to breakfast cereals and other fortified foods. Which brings me on to my final supplement that actually incorporates like 4 different supplements, but I personally haven't taken them separately one by one, so I'm only going to be talking about one product that incorporates them all. This is not sales. I am not affiliated with the company in any way, and I've only just started using this recently, but I've definitely seen some impact. I've seen a little bit of improvement for sure in my focus. Maybe it's just an initial thing and the effects will wear off, but I thought I would share it with you today just in case it's helpful to you. And I'm just popping in here with a little quick note that at the time of recording this podcast, I was not affiliated with this company at all. But since then, they have sent me a little affiliate code. So everything that I said after this point is completely my own opinion, and I wasn't affiliated with them at the time. But since then, I have had an affiliate code from them, and you can get money off down below. I think it's 20%, and I don't think I get money for it. I think I get 20% off my future orders. But just to be completely transparent with you, that has happened since recording this. Okay, so the supplement is mushrooms and not magic mushrooms. That's not what we're into over here. I've never tried magic mushrooms. I won't knock it till I've tried it, but so far it has not been for me. I have not tried that. But it's like this new hype, craze, trend that I did not want to jump on, of the mushrooms that are supposedly helpful for ADHD. Now, there have been studies into this and it does show that it's helpful, and I'm going to tell you how each supplement is helpful for ADHD, so you don't have to buy the specific product that I'm talking about. You can just buy these individually if you want to. The product that I use like incorporates them all, so you can absolutely buy them separately if you want to. But there have been studies to show that each of these things do help, but they have not been studied in depth. So this is a new thing. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. Everyone thinks it's great. There haven't been any long-term studies, obviously, but I personally have tried these all together and it's helped me, and I'm going to explain to you how. So the one that I use is Space Goods. You've probably seen it all over social media, particularly if you're on Instagram. They've got a very strong ad campaign over there, and I was influenced. And basically it incorporates 6 different active ingredients, and these all the reason why I was influenced is because I've heard about all of these things separately when I've been doing my own research, and I was like, God, so many supplements, like they're all supposed to help, but I know I'm not going to keep up. I'm not going to take all of these supplements all the time. So when it came that there was an easy to use supplement, I was like, okay, let's give it a try. It's got all of them in. And the reason I like it is because it's in drink form. For a long time, they were just selling coffee flavour, and I do not drink coffee, so I ignored it. But they've come out with chocolate flavour, and I am a sucker for chocolate. The only caveat is that I cannot have caffeine with my medication. You're not supposed to have any other stimulants. So it's high in caffeine. Like if you get the main one, the chocolate flavour or the coffee flavour, it's a really high dose of caffeine in there. So I would not recommend that if you are on a stimulant. But they came out with a decaffeinated version, which is the raw chocolate, which tastes different. But I work around that by putting it in an actual hot chocolate. So say you get a hot chocolate that has like 4 scoops, I will put in 3, and then the 4th scoop will be the supplement. It'll be the Space Goods raw chocolate, and I like the taste of that. You can also put it in smoothies and cakes, but I'm not here to sell Space Goods. I'm here to tell you about the supplements. So the 6 active ingredients in it, we're going to run through them together so you can work out if you want to try that or not. The first one is called Lion's Mane Mushroom. Now, Lion's Mane, there is a brand called Lion's Mane, I think. I have not tried it, but that's been really popular with ADHD, as I've seen a lot of people talk about that and how it's helped them. But it's also known as the brain mushroom and has been traditionally used in Far East Asia for centuries. Now, isn't that always the way? I feel like it's the same with spirituality. Oh, the West are only just coming around to the fact that actually medicine and the way we've been treating things is not the only way. So it's known as the brain mushroom. It's been used as a medicinal tonic in East Asia for centuries, and it's for improving memory and concentration, which obviously I'm struggling with right now. It contains compounds that may support nerve and brain health, and that is so all interconnected with ADHD. It's been shown to stimulate the production of the nerve growth factor, NGF, in the brain, which plays a vital role in the growth, maintenance and repair of nerve cells in a part of the brain associated with thinking, learning and emotions. So you can see why I would find that appealing. But again, I didn't buy it separately because I just know I won't keep up with taking it. The second active ingredient is cordyceps mushroom. Again, you can buy this separately as a supplement all of its own. It's known as the energy mushroom. It can positively influence the production and utilization of something called ATP, which I'm going to try and pronounce the long name, is adenosine triphosphate. Oh, I think I did quite well on that actually. The organic compound that supports energy production on a molecular level within the body. And the greater production of ATP means more energy to generate and increase in strength and power output for better performance in high intensity exercise. I didn't actually know that it helps with exercise, so we're learning something new together. The next active ingredient is chaga mushroom. Hope I'm saying that right. It's known as the immunity mushroom, which I 100% need, or the king of the mushrooms. And for good reason. It's the highest source of natural antioxidants on earth. Oh my God, I am learning so much with you here. The highest source of natural antioxidants on earth. Okay, so if I was going to take one of these on their own and I had to choose, I probably would go for that one then. If it's the highest source of natural antioxidants on earth, then can't can it? These are commonly known to support the immune system of the body, and the mushrooms also contain bioactive compounds that are believed to have immune stimulating effects. Love it. The next one you definitely will have heard of if you've done any research into ADHD and supplements to help it, and that is ashwagandha. It's an adaptogen that helps to combat stress. Again, I'm worried about my cortisol levels, and has been shown to induce a calming and stress and anxiety relieving effect to people that use high concentration extracts, like they're saying here, like we do in Space Goods. But loads of people do the high concentration extracts, not just them. And this particular study showed an improvement in self-assessed quality of life. The next one is maca root, MAC root. Also an adaptogen, it is extensively used as a herbal supplement for conditions such as erectile dysfunction, not a problem for me, and menopausal symptoms. Now, I have been talking a lot about the menopause lately, not on the pod, but just in general life. I feel like it's a hot topic along with ADHD. I know that they interact with each other and the experts don't know anything about it. So if you are of menopausal age, and it can be younger than you think, guys, it can start really early, then this is going to help with menopausal symptoms. But also, when I was in a discussion the other day, we were like, well, all the things that help with menopause actually just help you in real life too. It's kind of like the accommodations for ADHD would actually help every child. Like, why do we fight against these things that would make everyone's life easier? If it's good for menopause, it's good for everyone. We just don't use it because we're not desperate for it. There's experimental scientific evidence, again, I said there's been studies, but not deeply, that show maca has nutritional, energizer, and fertility and libido enhancer properties, and protects skin against ultraviolet radiation, which I'm not really bothered about because I don't go out in the sun. And last but not least, we have rhodiola rosea. Again, this has come up a lot in my research and I've been tempted to buy it, but I never have. It has encouraging clinical evidence to show that it can alleviate stress symptoms, fatigue and burnout, which is a massive one for me. You will know from my burnout Bible. I've totally forgotten to tell you, haven't I? Can't believe I haven't told you this. Just side note, I paused this podcast for a minute just to tell you that the burnout Bible is going to be a physical book, guys. I am so excited. I got sent it the other day, the proof of it. I've got to make a few little tweaks to it because I want to make it perfect for you, but it is going to be available on Amazon as an actual real life book, and I'm so excited, and I will let you know as soon as it is ready. If you want to be the first one to find out when it comes out, make sure you are signed up to the newsletter. I'll leave a link down below, or that you're over on my Instagram. It'll probably be newsletter first, then Instagram, and then everyone else. I'll probably tell you on the pod as well, but if you want to be the first to know, then make sure you're on the newsletter. So where was I up to before I started talking about that? Oh yeah, we were talking about how rhodiola, rhodiola, rosea, helps with fatigue and burnout, which is just massive in ADHD. We burn out all the time. Same in autism, same in a lot of people, but neurodivergent burnout is a bit different. I used to have it like once every 3 weeks and didn't even notice the pattern. So as I say, all of these mushrooms and adaptive ingredients can really help with your ADHD, or just help you if you haven't got ADHD, but in particular if you've got ADHD. But if you want to get them all in one product, many products put them all together, but the only one I can vouch for is Space Goods. And that's because A, it's easy to use. As I say, I just throw it in a drink or a smoothie. And B, I have noticed a notable difference. It says that it takes a couple of weeks, which is the same with medication. If you take ADHD medication, it doesn't always work immediately. You build it up in your system, and it's the same with this, which is very interesting, isn't it? You build it up over time. So it says like 2 weeks to a month to feel the total effects of it. Now, I started taking the full dose straight away on top of my medication, and it was intense, hyper focus. I got so much done. In fact, that's when I finished the book. I took my first couple of doses and I like plowed through the book and finished it, which I've been putting off for ages. But actually it was a little bit too intense for me. So I just took it down a little bit. I think the dose is 1 tablespoon. So I decided to make it like 2/3 of a tablespoon. And that was like a real nice balance for me on top of my medication. Cut to now, and I cannot get my medication. It's due to the shortage. I was due a new prescription over a week ago, and I've run out of meds now. So I'm literally only running on this Space Goods stuff. So obviously I've got like a tablespoon and a tiny bit more. And it's not the same strength as my medication for sure, but I don't know what I would do without it, put it that way. I feel like, well, I've done days where I haven't had my medication and I haven't taken these supplements, and it's like night and day. So taking the supplements, it's not as strong as ADHD medication, but it's pretty strong for all natural. Like, don't be fooled by the all natural tag. You know, at the end of the day, magic mushrooms, not that it's associated in any way, but magic mushrooms that are what is it called? Psychogenics? No, not psychogenics. Psychedelics. That are psychedelics just grow normally. They're all natural, but they're a complete drug. So don't be fooled by the all natural tag. Stuff is still strong. But as I say, for me, it's been a huge help, particularly now that I cannot get my meds. And keep your fingers crossed for me, guys, that I can get them next week, because if I don't get them for a prolonged time, I'm not sure how consistent this podcast is going to stay. So let's all pray that I can get my meds. But anyway, those are all the supplements that I personally take, that I can personally vouch for. I hope it's been helpful to you. And why don't we use these cheat codes? Last week I did a podcast all about listening to music and the big profound mindset changes that it helps me with. What an easy breezy tool. And this week I'm talking about supplements that you literally can just spray inside your cheek, spray on your arm and give them a rub in, or throw in a smoothie. Like, how easy, how little effort, and it's going to help us. So more of them, please. We'll also talk about the deeper work, because we absolutely need to do that, but sometimes we just don't have the time or energy to do that, so we can use these little cheats and hacks. So I hope you've all had a wonderful week. I hope that's helped you. Check out all the links below. Make sure you signed up to the newsletter, and check out the Body Doubling Club. It's your last chance over the next couple of weeks, because 1st of November, the price is going to jump up. I'm never going to do this bigger jump ever again, I don't think, just because the introductory price that I started at was just way too low for what it is. But you can still get in there at that price and lock it in for as long as you stay subscribed. The price is currently in the UK £5.99 a month, and for that you get so much content, such a back catalogue, stuff that I'm selling on the website for like £15 you can get straight away for £5.99. But from the 1st of November, for anyone joining new there, it's going to be £10 a month. So get in there quick if you want to be a member, and I'll speak to you all next week, guys. Bye.